How's it going? Woodspoon Supercoach here. Got a few big ins and outs this week, so let's jump right into the teams list. For the Knights and the Eels, Greg Marzhew does have a knee injury, so he is out, and Fletcher Hunt has come in for him. Leo Thompson is also out, which sees a reshuffle with Thomas Cant being named on the bench again. So if you're still hanging on to him, it's time to sell before he starts losing money. He's up above 400k, so he's a good player to shift for an upgrade. Jacob Saifidi, I've traded in this week. He's just underpriced. He's like 370k. I've had a look at his season stats, and all the games where he hasn't had a head knock and he's played 40 to 50 minutes, he's scored anywhere from 40 to 70. The 70 is an outlier because he got an attacking stat, but with the Knights coverage over the Origin period, I really like him as a trade-in, and I think he'll do a job for me. For the Eels, Zach Lomax is finally back, and in his return game, he'll be auditioning for a Blues spot, so keep an eye on that. I think people will be scrambling to him for the back end of the year. I know I will be. And Matt Dury has started in place of Charlie Geimer, who I think's been pushed out completely. Yep. Brendan Hands is named at 22, so danger signs for Riley Smith if he does end up finding his way into the team. But I just avoid Parramatta hookers. Fuck that. Don't want to deal with it. Bulldogs Roosters. Only change for the Bulldogs is that Salmon is out and Harry Hayes is in. For the Roosters, Lindsay Collins is back, which pushes out Fiketti, I think. So Savala's still in there, still a good option. I think he'll be very traded in this week. And if I don't trade him in this week, I'll be trading him in next week for sure. Dolphins, Warriors. No changes for the Dolphins. For the Warriors, we have Tuivasa Sheck named at 22. He is subject to fitness, so he may come in. And Fisher Harris is back, so that's a huge boost for the Warriors. I can't recall off the top of my head if they have good Origin cover, so probably not, because I seem to remember the good teams. But I don't mind the idea of getting like an Aaron Clark in or something just for availability over the Origin period, because he's been killing it. And I think next year we'll look back on him as the 300k cheapie, kind of like a Jermaine Hopgood from a couple of years ago. And the only other change is that Jackson Ford is out, which sees Sam Healey come in on the bench. Cowboys Manly. This is a scary game. The Cowboys have been on fire. Drinkwater's been on fire. Manly have just been sluggish and dejected almost. But we are a team that can just turn it on out of nowhere. So who knows what's going to happen in this game. As for changes, we'll start with the Cowboys. So Purdue to 5'8" is interesting. I think that may negatively affect his scores unless he gets some attacking stats from there. But I think with a bit of time, he could score okay. I'd probably see how he goes this weekend. It's a good game to have a look at how he goes because Manly can leak points. But I think he peaked in price a couple of weeks ago. Seems like a risk you don't really need to take. Dearden to play halfback. Zach Laybutt into the centres and Jake Clifford dropped. So potentially an opportunity for Manly to take advantage of some defensive vulnerabilities there. Fingers crossed. Nothing Supercoach relevant for the Seagulls, just shifts going on in the forwards and the bench. Sharks and Storm. So Tom Hazelton is out and Talakai has replaced him. Kafusi starting. And Teague Wilton a chance to come back from his shoulder injury. While the Storm, Kamakamika in for Nas and Harry Grant listed in the reserves. I think there's a pretty good chance Harry comes in this game. He needs that Origin tryout. But obviously, if he's not fit, they're not going to push him. Next up, we got Dragons and Broncos. Ezra Mam's back, who takes over Ben Hunt, who has a hammy injury. So those dreams of him getting pushed to 9 are well and truly dead. And Xavier Willison has come in for Piakura, who's on the bench now. For the Dragons, we got King Togia here at 7. A lot of people are going to be downgrading to him. And I haven't really looked into it too much. Let me go have a look. So his bottom dollar is about to go up 70k. And the Dragons miss round 12 and round 16. So that's not so bad. He is a 5'8", which is nice. For me, I've already brought in Wishy. I've had him for a few weeks. He's lost a bit of money, but it doesn't really matter. So in my case, if I was looking to bolster up my second 5'8", then he is a good option, and he's got decent enough coverage. Looking at my planning here, I actually can bring him in. I can afford to bring him in because I've got one extra player for round 12 and round 16. I've also got one extra player, so I could look at bringing him in. But something's just telling me that it's not the best option, and that if he wasn't going to be making a bunch of money, I wouldn't trade him in anyway. And I already know what my ideal team at the end of the year kind of looks like, and I don't have one of my reserves on 5'8", so I don't think I really need to generate money there. If Wishy generates some money there, cool. But I think I can generate money and points to go with it by going with other options other than this guy. Don't get me wrong though, he's a great option, and if he suits your team and you want to get him in, 100% go for it. As for other changes, Dylan Egan's been moved to the back row. DeBellin comes into the starting side for Toby Couchman, and Blake Laurie on the bench, so not a whole lot there. Raiders Titans. Nicholson, gone for a while, needs surgery, so Hosking has come in his place. And with how hot the Raiders are at the moment, I'd love that trade in if you want to do that. Corey Horsburgh is back from his head knock and his hangover. And for the Titans, Foreign back on the bench. Bizarre. And realistically, nothing else relevant going on there. Tigers and Bunnies. Fanua Pole's been injured and Royce Hunt comes into the starting side. That's actually quite a big blow for the Tigers. Pole's been amazing for them. Stafford Toa looking to come back from an injury, and Brent Naden dropped down to the interchange. And for the Rabbitohs, Alex Johnston back for Fletcher Myers. Hopefully he can get a bit closer to that all-time try scorers leaderboard. I'd love to see him crack that, but it's getting pretty close. He needs to get into his work. So that's all the significance in the teams list. Let's go over some trades now. So I scored a 1550 last week and lost more ranks. I'm outside the top 2k now, but I think this is where I start to catch up. For my trades this week, I've ripped my last boost, which is a little bit scary. And we've gone Saifidi in for Nicholson, Dylan Lucas in for Isaiah Yeo, and Jamal Fogarty in for Nathan Cleary. I was close to going Savala instead of Saifidi, but I crunched the numbers and figured that Saifidi was a better option to get in now, and Savala can be a trade for me next week, where I can downgrade Hubner. It could even be an upgrade by that point if Savala makes money and Hubner loses money, but luckily Hubner fixed up his break even a little bit with his score last week. And then once I've done that, I'm good for the Origin period, outside of needing to do a couple of trades for around 19. If we come over here, so this column here is my availability of my current team before I decided to put Saifidi in for Savala instead. But we've accounted for that down the bottom here, so we'll just pretend like I haven't traded him in yet. So trading Tino to Katoa in round 12 means I'm only 2 trades away from being set for round 13. So then in round 13, Ponga to Drinky, Hubner to Saifidi. That makes me set for round 13, set for round 15, 16, and 18. And then I only need one more trade in for round 19. So I'm set. I can sit, once I've done these 2 trades, because I've already done the Saifidi one, I can sit on my hands through the Origin period, and if there's an injury, I can work around it. If a player emerges who is absolutely killing it, I can just get him in. So I'm fully prepared, and I've got the flexibility to shuffle my team while people are just scrambling to get numbers. It won't be long before we're looking at the run home, which I've already started putting together. So maybe once we're sort of halfway through the Origin period, we'll start referring to this a bit more and helping that make decisions for players that you may want to keep for the rest of the year. We'll jump over to the Group League for a sec. So as for the Group League, Metamorphosis has decided he wants to cash out the full $100. So SLM, you are now leading, and I'll quickly re-explain how this all works. That cash out offer to Metamorphosis was just for him for the sake of keeping it competitive because he was way ahead. So to get paid out, you need to win the leaderboard here. Whoever contributes the most by commenting bets below gets this amount paid out at the end of the season. It doesn't come out of the prize pool, even though it does get added to the prize pool whenever you win. And then the prize pool gets divided between, maybe the top 3 in the Group League, which you're running out of time to join if you haven't. The code's on the desk there or up in the top left. So join the league if you haven't already, and leave a comment if you haven't already. There's a bunch of comments this week, so good chance we'll see the money go up a bit. This weekend we'll see the Origin teams announced, and then we can make sure that doesn't stuff up any of our plans and change where it does. And that's it. Good luck for round 11. Hooroo.